No, maybe I did. I was watching your video and there are some parts that you're talking about where you're definitely right in some parts, but there's some parts in there that I would I I would totally disagree. But
Would totally disagree with what?
yeah, let me pull it up. Yeah.
Because I know there was one part where there was a defensible interpretation, but it would be a very dishonest way of framing something.
So a lot of it, I feel like um it was. I feel like you misrepresented some of my points in here
Right.
because
There was one point. There was one point where there could have, if it was a misrepresentation, it would have been more dishonest on your part. And that was
okay, but
one
I
study
don't
where
know
you
which.
said it wasn't. Where you said it wasn't. Where you said these treatments aren't are the concern for these treatments not working because there's no significant difference.
For which study?
I don't. I can find it off the top. But here, I can. Yeah, sure. I'll point it to you. So, what I take it to be is that, yeah, this study.
Who is AY? What is AY?
Ask yourself.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there was
Holy
no
cow, there's a lot of
statistically.
people in here. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize how many people in here.
So I take it that you're going to disagree with me on the Ainsworth paper, which said. So what you said was there was no statistically significant difference in the mental health related quality of life among transgender women who had SRS, FFS, or both, which is concerning. Now,
I'm sorry. I was totally
sure.
am not prepared. I was just in here to see if some random person I was gonna talk with someone. I
Well, this
totally
is
am
the
not.
only one thing. This is the only one thing I think you could disagree with me on. However, if you disagree with me on it, it's going to be a very dishonest interpretation that you'd have to take. The actual quote from the study is, in the SF36v2, the mental component summary, or the MCS scores, for all participant groups that had GRS, FFS, or both, GRS only mean 49.3, FFS only mean 50, both FFS and GRS mean 49.2, are not significantly different from the MCS scores of the general female population. However, trans women without surgical intervention had statistically significant lower mental health scores compared to the mental health scores of the general female population. And
Okay,
that would
I'm
be
sorry. Let me pull
31.5.
this. Let me pull this study up because
Yeah.
I was not even thinking about that. Okay.
Well, were you thinking about something else that I misrepresented you? Because this is the only one I think is reasonable. The other ones.
No, I didn't even expect you to jump in this VC because you joined
Well,
5
I know you
seconds
didn't
after.
expect me to, but you said nonetheless that there were certain things that I misrepresented you on. I'd like to know what they are. This is the only thing I think you could reasonably say that. Of course, it was
Right.
if it was a misrepresentation, it was a charitable misrepresentation because at least you would just be. I was assuming you would at least just get the numbers wrong, but if you did
No,
not,
this is
then
fine.
you would
No,
be far more
I'm willing to talk.
dishonest.
It's just been 2 months, so let me just get in the right mindset really
Yeah,
fast.
go for it.
Okay.
Do you want me to send you the study or no?
No, I have it right here. Quality of
Okay.
life individuals with and without facial feminization surgery on gender reassignment surgery. So my um uh
I can quote it if you'd like.
I'm pretty sure how you stated it. I don't think I actually disagreed
There
with
was
you.
no statistically significant. There was no statistically significant difference in the mental health related quality of life among transgender women who had SRS, FFS, or both, which is concerning. And then you go on to say that it's concerning because, well, if you have these
Okay, I
uh,
got it.
procedures, yeah, if you have
So yeah,
these
so in
procedures,
the
it's
video,
not increasing, it's not improving your quality of life.
right. In the video, I specifically say, and I made sure to put it, and I even pointed out to Lauren, like before the thing, that there was a significant difference between those who had nothing and those who had something, right?
I didn't see that in the video. You didn't say that in the video.
Oh, no, I specifically said. In fact, I was actually talking with Lauren
She
before the
may have
video.
cut it out. She may have
No,
cut
no,
it out of the video.
it was in the video. Let me pull it up. Yeah.
Go ahead. Pull it up. Give me a timestamp. Link it.
Okay. Lauren Southern YouTube. Lauren Southern YouTube channel videos. The truth about transgender treatment. Let's see. Ainsworth 2010 is like. Let me open the transcript. And this is going to take me not a huge amount of time, but
Well,
probably.
I'm not interested in the transcript. I'm interested in the video because I grant that
Right.
what was in the transcript. It may have been. I don't know what was in the transcript. I don't have access to that. I was just reviewing the video.
No. The automatic YouTube video transcript, so I can better find the part of the video.
No, sure, yeah.
Just because it's a 1 hour video, and I don't exactly remember
I can
which
help
second.
you if you'd like.
Yes, that would be awesome. Do you know which second it was around?
Let's see.
I think it was around 27. Here, let me just play it.
Missed.
So the Cornell analysis, blah blah blah. So when we look at analysis, like just look at the best study. It's rigorous enough to get enough. So what the authors do is about transgender. It wasn't a standardized survey. Researchers just made their own absolute massive price survey on from the patient
Question specifically about how much you like your nose.
like as you move to a better method. Sorry, this study that I'm talking about, 10, there was no statistically significant difference in the mental health related quality of life on transgender Right, and I read it verbatim from the thing. Can you are you able to hear that or no?
Yeah, so here's the quote what you said. I'm at the timestamp at 28 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'll play it for everyone to hear. All right,
Sure.
so 28 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And if you can point out anywhere where I say that it's not significant between those who don't have surgery and those who do.
No. What I'm saying is that you didn't say, you omitted saying. Okay? And don't try to weasel out of that. Don't try, because there's a difference between the claim that I said that there was a difference between those who had it and those who didn't, versus I didn't say that there was no difference between those who had it and those that didn't.
Here, let me pull up the.
So your claim, and this is on recordings, by the way. So your claim that you said before was that you did say that you did say. Well, it's on, I'm just mentioning it's recorded for the so we can go back to see what you said.
Oh, the
so what you said.
Okay.
Yeah. So what? So you. My point is that you did not say that there was a difference between those who had the surgery and those who didn't. Do you disagree with that?
Let me pull up because I'm pretty sure. Here we go.
I can play it for everyone if you'd like. I have it over here.
Right. Sorry. Okay. This is gonna be the hugest cop out, but give me like 30 seconds to like read my stuff and go over what I'm looking at. Is that okay?
I'll tell you what. You can take 30 seconds in the meantime. I'm gonna play your words for everyone.
Play it. Yeah, that's fine.
Sure. So everyone, here's everyone listening.
Questions or your facial feminization surgery, and the other one was just questions of how is your life actually improving?
Right. So that's just an example of like, as you move to a better methodology, you can start getting clearer findings. Funny enough, it's like this study that I'm talking about, Ainsworth 2010. there was no statistically significant difference in the mental health related quality of life among transgender women who had reassignment surgery, facial feminization surgery, or both, which is kind of concerning because it's like for those who are seeking medical interventions, if the quality of life of the medical interventions aren't changing after you get more interventions, and it's like, this is a real concern to look at when we're deciding, for example, government funding. That could be an example.
Yes.
Okay, so did everyone hear that quote in its entirety?
Can you scoot back? There's a part in here, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I say that when I was talking about the cosmetic surgery, that I say the effect size halved, which implies that there's which I guess is not explicit, but if I say the effect size halved from positive to a less positive, that would imply that there was originally a positive effect size from the study.
It doesn't
However,
imply that there was a difference. That's a conflation between magnitude and statistical significance.
Well, I didn't say reverse or anything, right? So when the effect size
doesn't matter if you said reverse or not. What you told me in this conversation is that you verbatim said that there was a difference between those who had the surgery and those who didn't. That's what you told me verbatim. Now, I'd like a concession that's not what you did.
Did I say that? Did I say that within the last, like in this Discord chat? Did I say?
Yes. In this discussion, what you told me was that you said, and you said that there, and you said it verbatim, that there was a difference. You made sure to say that there was a difference between those who had it and those who didn't have it.
Okay, if I said that, then I didn't mean to say that. My bad. What I thought I've been saying this whole time, which I guess if you show me the video recording, then I'm wrong. Then yeah, that's stupid. I'm dumb. But yeah, so basically, from the study, it's there's no statistical difference between GRS, FFS, or both. However, between the two, what I thought I said previously is between those who had nothing and had something, there seemed to be a statistical difference.
So yeah, so you did not say that latter part.
What? Okay, I thought I previously. If you have the recording, maybe I'll go back. But like,
yeah, I have the recording
like,
here. Look, I'll play it again. Yeah, I'll play it again. Sure, no problem.
Like on the YouTube video or in this?
Yeah, on the YouTube video. I'm playing it right on the YouTube video.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in the. Okay, I thought I said this.
No, through the no. I'll play it through my microphone, if you'd like.
What, the Discord audio or the YouTube video?
I'm playing the YouTube video through my microphone.
Right.
On the
No,
Discord.
I didn't. Right. So the YouTube video, I didn't explicitly say, like I said previously.
Okay, cool, great. So
I implied it when I say the effect size halved, which I thought, like, obviously.
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with statistical. Cohen's D doesn't have anything to do with statistical. I mean, that's not going to imply statistical significance.
Sure, it isn't, but it implied there was a positive effect size between those who didn't have it and those who did have it.
Sure, which doesn't.
Which was not, which isn't is not as transparent as I could have made it. But I'm
right. And the point is, if you're going to say the other criticism is, so criticism one is if you're going to say, just to not be misleading, if you're going to say there's no difference between those who had one methodology or the other or both, then you should really say that there actually was a statistically significant difference between those who had one or none, or one the other or both or none.
Right, and that wasn't even the
it's
point.
It's also the next line in what's being brought up on the YouTube video. Like literally after the next that sentence, it's literally the next line. But
regardless, it's linked anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know it's linked. Well, the other thing, is
so it's shown on screen. One, it's shown on screen. Two, it's linked, and number three, that wasn't even the point of the reason I brought it.
I understand that, but no, I get that. Your point was you made 2 points. Your point was the effect size was cut in half, and the second point you made was that it's concerning that these weren't different from each other. And I'll just play it for everyone here with your second point. That point doesn't go through either. There's a huge problem with that point as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, here is the second point.
Kind of concerning because it's like, for those who are seeking medical interventions, if the quality of life of the medical interventions aren't changing after you get more interventions, and it's like, this is a real concern to look at.
For those who are seeking interventions, if the quality of life isn't increasing as you're getting interventions, then it's kind of, concerning. Well, the issue is this study didn't actually look at whether they were desiring both of those things or one of those things or the other.
Right,
They
that's
just
a
looked at it
limitation.
together.
It would be a cross.
But when you actually have studies that do look at that, you find that receiving all desired surgeries performs superior than receiving only one or two desired surgeries.
So I think we have one study on that, and it's a pretty good study. It is a self-report study. I assume you're talking about the Turban one that came out recently.
The one published in JAMA.
Yeah, I think that's Turban.
I mean, this study is also self-reported. If you'd like to have a criticism on, kind of survey.
Sorry, I mean like internet self-reporting, internet reporting.
Well, actually, I think it was mixed. Actually, it was internet, but I'm not sure. Yes, internet self-reporting, but still, I mean, like you can have questionnaires done these days. These questionnaires, these SF whatevers, are done on tablets these days, and they're done through electronic means. And I'm not really sure what the look. I mean, it's by far. Let's be honest. This was. I'm not sure if there's any
with the internet survey with the Turban one, there's like a larger disconnect between like the researcher and it's the sample. Regardless, I mean,
there's other data. There's other data showing like a mixed internet and in-person sampling. It has its own issues, but it's. I've shown this data to you as well. It comes to the same conclusion.
Well,
regardless,
if I'm not mistaken, if there is some data showing how online cohorts or online samples of transgenders differ than how.
No, I understand that. I'm acknowledging that, and that's why I brought to your attention that there's other studies that have mix that didn't do one or the other. Yeah, really? and they find the same thing.
I'm not sure.
And I sent you that paper already. It has its issues.
Oh, which one?
Yeah, let's see. So online versus paper surveys. So the Bauer studies. Studies that have used both in-person and online responses don't find difference results with respect to the questions being asked, and that was the Bauer study. Bauer 2013.
I will say I do have a problem with the Bauer study is the one with like the Ontario people.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say when I was reading it, I haven't read it in a while. I'd have to pull it back up. I remember thinking of some things that were not exactly the best practice, but
I'll grant that there are I'll grant that there are limitations. Look, not the best practice is also citing a study that doesn't answer the question you're trying to address or infer. Like saying, well, it's concerning if people are seeking medical therapies and not doing better after either getting them. Well,
right. When the study I was citing does not go for right, and yes, it's unfortunate there isn't awesome literature on it, but
I think the best literature that we have on the topic to answer that question. In fact, the only two studies I'm aware of that answer that question. I'm only aware of two. One is a study based on one is a very well done study based on self-reported internet data, and then the other one is a not as well done study, which has some limitations. Based on a mixture of internet and not internet data and in-person data, which also comes to the same conclusion.
But I agree with the conclusion. Yeah,
but certainly, given that those are the only two studies that actually answer the question, and they actually answer the question with respect to harder endpoints than some SF36.
Sure.
So. Yeah,
right. Because it has like
that, would you agree? Yeah, suicidal ideation or suicide attempts. The Turban had both.
Yes. So the Turban study was pretty good. I just hadn't read it at the time of the video, which I probably should have. So it's like I have read the Turban study. The Bauer study, I think is questionable, but good enough for inferences. But regardless, it's like it does seem like as people who want more interventions, as they get more interventions, they seem to be more satisfied because they've gotten more interventions. Yes.
Yeah, cool. All right. So just so we agree, yeah. So the study that you cited didn't answer the question you were trying to answer. You were trying to answer or trying to infer, and the best studies available on the topic actually show the opposite conclusion. That actually they do. They do seem to do better as they get the procedures they
Sure.
that they
Yeah.
desire. Okay, cool. Yeah. Now, was there any other thing that you feel like I misrepresented you on, or was that it?
Probably 2 months ago when I watched it, I probably had some things on my mind. I'd have to rewatch this. It is 5 hours, so
Okay. So we agree on the both of those. So with respect to that, we agree on both of the points. We agree that it would have been nice if you were to actually have said, actually, they were statistically significant different with respect to not getting it all. And B,
I didn't really think it was relevant to the thing I was saying because I mean I showed it on screen. I implied it sort of. I understand your criticism with that. I just didn't think it was relevant.
Well, I mean,
Well, because it wasn't relevant to the argument I was making. Regardless, it is on screen. Like it's literally the next sentence, and it's linked. So anyone who is looking at the video.
And then, I mean, the reason I think it's important is just because when a lot of it's not just me. A lot of people who are hearing this, a lot of people are also hearing it, not watching it. But when they
Sure.
hear it, they hear it. They hear like, oh well, these things there's no statistically significant difference. They infer that that's actually compared to those who didn't do it. It wasn't actually clear that it's just between those or both compared to what. Compared to each other.
Oh, I guess even though I will say yes, even though I said it, and even though it's on screen, I will say obviously I could have presented it better. Yes.
Yeah, and then the main one, is like the main thing is just that this study didn't actually look at if they were desiring one or the other or both.
No, that's a limitation. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's not just a limitation. It's the study just fundamentally isn't looking at the question that we're asking.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it would just be like a cross-sectional like analysis of these three
Like a
groups.
limitation. When I hear limitation, I think of like, oh well, there's this one thing here you forgot. Here's an extra
Right. The
confounder
study.
you
Right.
didn't
I
control
don't
for,
disagree.
right?
The study was not trying to. The study wasn't even attempting to look into that. I just found the data, and it was a cross-sectional analysis between the groups I would want to find the data on. So yes, I guess limitation refers to a limitation on the author's goal to find the conclusion, given the fact that the thing they were testing was unrelated. However, the data was still there. Then yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's a type of limitation such that they're answering a different question.
Right. And I knew
not
that.
answering the same question, but in a less precise way, but just answering a different question.
Sure. And and I know that the study wasn't answering the question I was using the data for. Yes.
Okay, cool. And now, do we agree that the best available data to date does support that that gender-affirming therapies, such as surgeries, reduce the risk of suicidal ideation or suicidal attempts for those who desire them?
I think the data that's available, unfortunately, I'm curious because you do seem to have a better read on the literature. Do you know if there's any type of literature like studying anything like any type of long-term study on SRIs or CBT on transgender populations with suicide? Like any type of long-term study that
there are some. There are some. I don't have them offhand.
that's fine.
They don't. It would be a hard press to say that the entire effect size there was explained by that.
Sure,
could be mitigated by that.
I was just upset because like I was looking because one, I will admit, given the literature I've read, the only effect that I've read it deals with transgender surgery, so I haven't looked at any other method. But yes, because the research is only I think focused around that, then yes, that's the only thing we've looked at, and it seems to be more effective than doing nothing. So obviously, if you have a child who is especially ideating suicide, 100%, or maybe not 100, but like you should probably
Well, just to
give
be
them
clear, not just wait, what are you saying more effective than doing nothing? You're talking about the SSIs?
well, any type of quality of life
Wait, but what modality of treatment? What are you talking about?
just social or physical transition.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm not. So what I'm saying is, it's not just that it's better than nothing. It cut the odds greater than in half, right? I mean, if you look at the point estimates, they're very strong magnitude.
Oh, is that in the Turban study? Okay, I'll have to read that because I've only read like I haven't read it fully. I know roughly what they did. I just should probably read it more.
Yeah, the point estimates. The point estimates are for those who desired and received all surgeries. The odds ratios are 0.44.
Was what?
For those who desired and received all surgeries. So for those who received all surgeries desires, the odd ratios of suicidal ideation, suicide attempt are 0.44.
0.44?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean it takes. Yeah, it cuts the odds over in half. It's here. I think this is I'll post it in general chat. Yeah.
And so, I didn't try to imply that this sucks. I'm just saying that because I think this is the only treatment. Sorry, this is the only treatment that we've like really rigorously analyzed in the literature.
Yeah, and it's not just for like this; it's also for like severe psychological distress in the past one, suicide, both in ideation and attempt. So you notice like it received like some desired surgeries. That's like that. You know, you cut the odds by like 30%. So it'll go. The odds ratio will be like 0.7, 0.72. Receiving all desired surgeries drops it down to 0.4, less than half. So it's not just like So it's not just going to be like this, well, hey, there's something that's better than nothing. Yeah, it's actually a very strong point estimate, and it's a stronger point estimate than many of the psychological therapy point estimates. And I
couldn't find any long-term CBT estimates. Though, if this is truly 0.4, then odds ratio is 0.4 and a half. Then that's that's amazing. That cuts suicide like almost in half. So
yeah, more than half. A little more, but yeah.
Oh yeah, 60, whatever.
Yeah. So the yeah, I mean, and by the way, so let's just like here's the main concession I want. Based on the best available, not just the available, but the best available evidence, which also happens to be pretty good evidence. Could always have better, but this is pretty good evidence, and it's the best available.
If we assume that this is a good representative population, which I think is. I think both with the Bauer and Kervin, then sure, it's pretty good for inference. And I've even said this before, that yes, I think transgender social and physical transition is a good treatment for transgenders. Yes.
Okay. So just so we're clear. So the best.
I mean, even those numbers, those are good numbers. Yes, and it's this is the best available evidence. I do find it disappointing because I wanted to see like the effects of other treatments, And given that this is the effective treatment, then maybe that's all we need. But I was, especially in the time that we didn't have, some of these studies. It was unfortunate because I was looking for like, SRI, CBT, or even like increased testosterone for MTF. Like I was looking for any type of long-term data for that. I couldn't find any.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's always a desire for more data. I'm sure that's always going to be
like
a thing.
anything else. But yeah, I don't dispute the data. This seems like an effective treatment. And seems like a good.
So for everyone, just to be clear, we agree that based on the best available evidence, gender affirming hormone therapies or surgical therapies, in this case, are quite effective for reducing suicidal ideation, suicide attempts in transgender individuals. Agree on that, right?
Right. I mean, this is what the Turban study explains.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, nice. Cool. So that was the main point of contention. It was the point of contention in the that I had with Lauren Southern, and I'm glad that the individual that you, the one she brought on to heard this data, agrees with me on this. Great.
On that point, sure.
Yeah. Well, that's. I mean, it's not like that's not a superfluous point. That's the main point.
Yeah, it's a big point. I will say, on the broader spectrum of a lot of the theoretical stuff, I think it's kind of. I would disagree with a lot of, I guess, gender theory stuff. But I mean,
that's a whole different. Well, that's a very different conversation. We can have a conversation like that. There's lots of gender theory that I disagree with as well. But
sure.
But this was But this is just data. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a superfluous point. Yeah. Okay, so we can go to the other.
One thing I wanted to point out, because you were hammering down on this point. I was just scrubbing through this when I was talking about the mental effects from puberty blockers. And I brought up some RAM studies and stuff like that. And the reason I brought this up is to say that I feel like more research is warranted. Not that I know for a fact that, puberty blockers are going to make your kids stupid or whatever.
Yeah, no, I understood that. I'm not saying you were making a strong claim. If anything, it was something that could raise alarm to shift the doxastic state one way or the other. I'm just pointing out that this is not only animal models are not only very poorly translate to humans, but we have reason to believe that this specific animal model would poorly translate even more.
Okay, but in the video, if you read to watch, I'm not going to replay the 3 hours, but it just seemed like I guess I'm wrong here, but when I was watching the video previously, it really seemed like you thought my position was strongly in favor that I thought that puberty blockers actually had a strong mental deficit effect that I knew for sure of, and that
I don't think I made a claim on the strength of your doxastic state.
So I guess I'm wrong on that.
Nor do I take a position on the strength of your doxastic state. If I did, I'd like to see more in the video. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you took a position, but for example, if you believe that I took a strong position when the real position is more of an agnostic one, then you would be right to say that I was wrong, right?
I'll take a the view I took is that you probably did not take a strong position, but I don't think it was purely 50-50 agnostic on your part. I think it would probably lean a little bit.
I definitely did not take didn't take a 50-50 agnostic view. I
think it was probably leaning in some amount in favor of the notion that it does happen.
There might be a mental effect. We've seen some mental effects in previous exploratory work. Therefore, we should study more of the mental effect before we Since
I think I'm on board. I think I pinned down the doxastic state that you had pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, yeah, I think those studies are very, very. I think a lot of now I have to be
call them
view
exploratory.
I won't let you down.
No, I wouldn't even call them exploratory. I would call them exploratory in a completely different population, and we have good reason to believe they wouldn't extrapolate to that population.
Well, I brought up data besides the Rams. Like there are two studies.
No, not just the Rams. No, I'm talking about the other studies as well. I'm talking about the Warriors. I'm talking about the ones in humans as well. The problem, the problem is they're on precocious puberty.
Right.
And the issue here is that if you look at the ages when they're recruited, so the idea is in precocious puberty, there's this hypothesis that when individuals go through precocious puberty, they get this like initial IQ boost because their brain is maturing earlier than it normally would, and that actually like ends up in this. You'll see what happens if they like skip grades earlier. There's documentation of like. I'm sorry, what?
Oh, okay. So I get what you're saying. So because they delayed puberty, if your control is those who didn't take it and are going through precocious puberty, then the IQ deficit is because they're not progressing as fast as those with precocious puberty.
Well, no. The that's not it exactly. So what happens is the individuals with precocious puberty were compared to the individuals without precocious puberty, and the individuals with precocious puberty. The ages when they skipped those grades, they were recruited after that initial IQ boost. If you look at the ages when those studies start.
Okay.
So after that, but then what happens is that the trend seems to be the case that there's this like falling in line. The IQ like has this, you get this boost and then you get this decline, right? That's the hypothesis anyway. So after the precocious puberty happens, you get this like spurious IQ increase, and then the IQ decreases. And what's really happening is not that it's going down; it's just falling in line to where it would have been anyway. Now, if you recruit your subjects at a time frame where the boost already happened, and now they're just going downhill, well, they're just going to go downhill because of their precocious puberty trend. Has nothing to do with taking a puberty blocker or not. And then especially when you compare them to individuals in the general population, you at that time point you expect them to have a decline in IQ relative to the general population. If you just randomly just sample general population of people with precocious puberty. So to say that, this is the same thing with SSRIs. They used to think SSRIs cause pregnancy defects.
Right. I think I remember you talking about that. So
yeah, you know what the issue was with that.
Introducing your
I can say it.
No, I'm trying to remember because I know I remember you talking about it. I just can't remember what you said.
Yeah, the issue was they thought that there were these initial studies comparing pregnant women who took SSRIs to the general population, and they found that in pregnant women who took SSRIs, there were increased risks of Budd-Chiari malformations, and autism. And they concluded from this that there may be a risk of pregnant women to take SSRIs. Now, the obvious problem here was what they were doing was they were comparing pregnant women with depression who took SSRIs to pregnant women in the general population. What they were not doing was comparing pregnant women who took SSRIs with depression to pregnant women with depression who did not take SSRIs. And it turns out when they did that, all that association went away. It turns out the depression was actually the tragedy.
Sure.
Yeah. And so what you're doing here is there's an underdetermination, whether it's the puberty blocker, whether it's the precocious puberty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And given that, there's really no way of determining whether it's the puberty blocker or the precocious puberty, especially when you look at the time frame that they're recruited. With other hypotheses and background knowledge, you'd expect these kids' IQ to drop, regardless of.
I'll have to pull back up these studies because obviously I haven't read them in a couple months, but yeah, because I cited one that was just like a review of the available literature on
Yep,
precocious
it was
puberty.
a review of
but-
the available. It cited it cited two ones. One had a control group, one didn't. Yeah, I can pull them up. One was Walge's, and one I can pull them up for you if you'd like.
Yeah, the Wojnius study, which was
Yep.
I think that was the one that you were talking about with the IQ control.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah, the other one didn't have a control at all. The other one that was mentioned at the review.
Stay Back 2016, depressive symptoms, but that's not mental facilities.
No, there were only two I saw that measured IQ.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One of them, yeah, the Walshness is the only one that had a control. That measured IQ. The problem is the same problem. You're recruiting. I don't have to repeat it.
Okay.
The other thing was Cole.
There's potential there's not just potential, but yeah, there are methodological problems. So I just hope they research it more.
Yeah, no, I hope they research it more too. But all I'm saying is that these are not just methodological issues to that inference. They're simply asking a very different question, a very different underdetermined question than the question we're trying to answer. And so,
well, it could be
I
a
would
fact
shift
that
the
some
agnosticism
variables.
back.
I mean, it could be a fact that, like, for example, if depression,
Mm-hmm.
in the case you're talking about with like SSRIs among pregnant women,
Yeah.
in a different case, it could be that depression was not a variable that messed things up. Maybe in this, the variables that should be controlled for aren't messing things up.
Sure,
Who knows?
but that's the reason I brought the background knowledge, the further background knowledge, giving that we actually have reason to believe it is the thing that's messing with the IQ change.
That was quick.
So yeah.
Right.
We'll just
So if we had background knowledge in the case of the pregnancy before we knew the answer, if we had background knowledge suggesting that the depression actually does cause blood-carrier malformations, and it actually does cause those things, then yeah, I mean, we shouldn't like jump to the conclusion or even lean into the conclusion that's SSRIs.
Well, I mean,
It could be. No, it's possible. It's possible, but the first thing we would look for is what the causes we already know.
right. That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Same thing here. Yeah, same thing here.
So it's pretty.
You disagree?
It is pretty interesting. I will say this before I say I agree. I will say it is pretty interesting that who was it? The British Health, which British Health organization? I can't even remember. I'll pull it up here.
Extended heavy mag here. Level 2.
I wish I had this fresh in my mind.
Are you talking about the decision memo for gender dysphoria, gender reassignment surgery?
No, that was from no, I'm talking about.
Dibs.
I had a document with the research, and I have like 15 emails on my Gmail. And it's in one of their drives, so I'm not even gonna look for it. But I can't remember which institution from the United Kingdom stated that they decided to put their decision on the mental effects of puberty blockers as unknown rather than safe.
You've got good taste.
And I think that was done in 2019. I'm trying to figure out which. Maybe it's in the video, but
Well,
maybe.
look, I mean, the fact that they did that, I think that's compatible with everything I'm saying. It's also compatible with the view that someone could easily find themselves in a situation where they should be taking it.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
But they just.
like my point of critiquing these studies isn't to say that we know we know everything.
I know.
Like,
Right. No, I agree with your. I fully understand how you're approaching this, and I would agree with it.
okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. To wrap that section up, I think that the So it's possible. It's certainly possible that puberty blockers, like any medication, could have certain adverse effects. It's possible that one of those adverse effects could be IQ. I just don't think the data on
Or
humans and non-humans alike.
you don't know.
Wait, what?
The statement that the
Keep eyes on the new kill leader.
it was not the NI, it was like some branch of the NIH or NIH, but they didn't specifically say IQ, but they said they changed recently from their position from there doesn't seem to be any mental health effects to we are agnostic on the health effects, which is compatible with what you're saying, but with what I'm saying as well is just
Yeah,
we
that
don't
could.
know.
I mean, it's also compatible with their first statement, also, by the way, because they could have just raised their standard of evidence, and have had a lower standard of
That's
evidence.
true. That's true. Well, I think they've always regarding this issue we've always and currently have a low.
Well, do you know what standard of evidence they had? Did they grade before and then too, or did they have the same outcomes for grade, or did they then tell you that's? I mean, I don't know.
Well, well, if you have, regardless to any standard of evidence, the grade is regardless of any standard of evidence. If you only have 2 studies on it, then I don't care which standard you use.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
pretty
point. The point. Yeah, I mean, well. I mean, look. This is of all the things, like this is so. This is like the that means least to me the most, because like number one, there'd be 1.5 million reasons that could be the case. Number two, why I don't know why I would care. Like the truth of different propositions doesn't depend on credentialism. It doesn't depend on any.
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't depend on an appeal to authority. The appeal to authority is just a useful heuristic, and the reason it's a useful heuristic is only because the authorities are aware of the data.
It's a proxy for truth. It's proxy. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all. Yeah, of course, if you have access to the data yourself, and you have access to newer data that comes along, or if you have access to or if you have reason to believe. Yeah, I mean, it's just it the data supersedes the appeal to authority.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
why they changed it from one to another? Like, I don't know. It's also it could be compatible for both of their statements. It's certainly compatible with everything I'm saying. There doesn't seem to be an
Which I said, it's compatible with what you're saying. I just found it pretty interesting because usually they wouldn't go in that direction. I'm not trying to appeal to this big conspiracy.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I
In the
wouldn't
UK,
think. I
especially
wouldn't
in the
think
UK, there's been a lot of anti-trans push in the UK lately. Just saying.
They don't. I don't know. I could be wrong, but they don't seem like the type to discourage treatment. But I could be wrong, and maybe it is. It could be. But who knows?
It's just, look. I mean, it's just going to be speculative. I'm going to be more interested in the actual data. So based on the actual data. Yeah. So based on the basis of the actual data, I don't think we have a full picture of what the adverse effects are. Of course, we do have some picture of what the benefits could be for certain individuals, and that certainly could be a trade worth making in many cases. And
sure.
In terms of IQ, I don't think these studies are not only limited, not only have methodological limitations, but they fundamentally answer different questions. And we also have background reasons to think that the IQ would have changed anyway, given the type of patients they were looking at. And for those reasons, I don't think we should deviate from agnosticism in favor of the IQ decreasing. I think we should just remain agnostic. Do you disagree?
I think if I had to lean one way, then it would be I think we have limited evidence, obviously, but there could be some type of mental decline. Obviously, in absolute terms, I'm agnostic. But
okay, cool. Wait, just to be clear, wait. So you say it could be like that's compatible with being agnostic. It's compatible with like not giving a credence based on that data. What I'm saying is that
Well,
data is
it's
not.
like, your friend shows up and he has his hand clasped, and you're agnostic on what's in the hand, but he said, I could have something, I could have a coin in here, right? And right, so it's like there's a like, okay, maybe I haven't even developed exactly how I think of it personally. I mean, okay,
Well,
I'll be
I'm
real.
just asking
This
you as if you think
conversation,
these studies, if you, I'm just asking you if you think these studies give you basis to warrant a leaning, and if so, how much, and how you get there? Because to me, it seems like they're answering a very different
honestly,
question.
I don't know. I have to say,
Okay,
I don't
so if you don't know, sounds like agnostic. That sounds like a 50-50 agnostic state.
know. Okay, like, I'll be real. I've been kind of messy in this conversation. I will say, for the points on transition and stuff like that, that's a position I've held for a while and will probably continue to hold unless something crazy happens. But for a lot of the other points here, I have been slightly messy, and I keep copping out here saying it's been 2 months since I've talked about this, but it is true. It's been 2 months since I have talked about this, so that's why I'm not as prepared as I wish I could be when talking about this. But yeah, no. Generally, I agree with most of the points you're saying here. I agree with most of the vibes that you're giving. So it's like, hopefully this is not recorded. Hopefully this isn't put on YouTube, because this is not my best representation of
Is
how
there
I think.
anything that you is there anything that you disagree with me on?
I'd have to rewatch the 5-hour video. So
Okay. So as of now, it doesn't seem okay. So it seems like we agree on the major points. There may be like very small quibbles on the minor points, but I think we're mostly in agreement on in that area as well. Yeah. Cool. So great. So we agreed that transgender affirming therapies are quite beneficial to transgender individuals
yeah,
for
they're
suicidal
effective.
ideation, suicide attempts. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, and we agree that the puberty blocker IQ studies are not just limited, but they're answering a fundamentally different question. And yeah, it would be So yeah, I think those are the main points of contention. So I'm glad we agree. And
if it happened that you made a
yeah,
5-hour video on those 2 points, then
well, it's
then-
not. Well, it's not. Well, I mean, to be fair, it wasn't just. So it wasn't just in this one. Like some of them were philosophical, and also
Sure.
you and Lauren came in onto that video, and we spoke.
Yeah, but that
Unfortunately,
was
on
only around. That had to be less than an hour. That had to be less than an hour.
yeah. There was. I mean,
Actually, I didn't
well,
watch the Lauren stuff. I didn't watch any of the Lauren stuff because that was
yeah.
really.
Also, it takes longer to go through each individual study than to reference them after we've already read them.
Sure. I would agree. Yeah. So yeah, breaking down why someone is right or wrong takes more time than explaining why you're right
Yeah.
or wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's other stuff too. Like if you want, I can go into a much more like in-depth thing that comes to the same major points. But yeah,
I mean, I'd
I
love
do
to.
think. Wait, do you think I'm like misrepresenting the main points of contention here, or do you think like?
Because I'll be real, because I've only watched the video once, and it was at ×2 speed, 2 months ago, and I felt like there's some. I felt like there is a noticeable amount of things that I disagree with you on, but given that was a while ago and I haven't watched it recently, then I honestly can't remember, and that's crappy on my part, but it's the truth. Since I haven't watched it in a while, it's like I don't know if I don't know. So I'll have to rewatch it.
Okay,
Probably.
well, we brought up one thing that I think you did disagree with me on. I think we came to conclusions on that.
Sure.
We ended up in agreement. Maybe other things. Sure, I invite you to rewatch the video, and we could cut back and talk about that if you'd like. But I think it's still worth noting that on the major points of contention, which I think we both agree what they are.
Sure, I probably agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, on the main points of contention, you agree. Okay, great. Awesome.
I'm probably not gonna.
Yeah.
I'll be real. I'm probably not gonna watch the 5-hour video again. Just because I'm sorry, but sure.
And I'll point out to say like this is being I believe this is being recorded, and it's not to make you look bad. It's the reason is because when you have
It was
someone.
just unexpected. Like, I honestly didn't expect how many
Yeah,
people are in here? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, like
Yeah,
15,
no,
20?
no, it's okay. It's just,
So it's
I'm
like,
not.
holy
No,
cow.
don't feel intimidated. Like don't feel intimidated by people. It's actually not a lot of people in here.
I don't know.
But
So, guys,
the
if this is
point.
recorded, please have mercy on me. If I am
Well,
going to
no,
be
I think,
recorded, I'd love to give prepared stuff.
yeah, but I think the reason for this is because you have someone like Lauren Southern who brings you on as the person who's going to present the data, and then she
Mhm.
refuses to engage after because I suspect she knows she's wrong on this. She refuses to engage after. She completely ghosted me after I followed up for a request to have a discussion about it.
Oh,
And so I
ask
think
yourself
it's
to add
important.
everyone. I didn't even see that. Holy cow! Come on. Okay, whatever.
Wait,
But
what?
yeah, so okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand
Yeah,
what you're
it's
saying.
important. It's important to have, like, if I can't get her to admit that she was wrong, it's at least important to. It's at least important on the point she's contending. It's at least important to have the
I like,
expert that she brought on
um,
to disagree with the points of contention.
and I don't
You
even
know,
think she put me as an expert. I think she described me as
or,
someone.
or whoever is the arbiter of whatever it is,
Yeah.
the arbiter of the data. It's important to at the very least get the arbiter of the data from her video on to
Right. Okay.
to
Yeah,
agree
no,
that
totally.
the,
And I meant to
yeah.
do this earlier,
So
but
yeah.
then I decided not to because
So,
I'm
and
lazy.
I
But yeah,
appreciate
so
you.
it is good. Like I did want to eventually talk about this,
Mhm.
so it's good that it happened. Rather than never. But yes, and yeah, and I think Lauren understands my positions as well. I don't know exactly Lauren's position, so I can't make a position on that. But um, for me personally, it's like, yeah, I've read more of the data. It seems like it's um, given that we only have like what 5 good studies on 5 good studies. Granted that they're good, so I can't complain. So yeah, it's like I'd have to agree with the interventionist position there, but I can't speak for Lauren whether it be like how she's responding or what her beliefs are because I'm not her and I don't know.
No, I know. I don't expect you to. She's just she's ghosting the individuals who she knows know how to discuss the topic. Um, So all I can do is get the individual, like I'm doing right now, that
Sure.
she's
No, I
wrong.
understand
Yeah,
what you're doing.
as the arbiter to show the world that actually the person that she brought on to say all these things actually doesn't hold that view, and actually believes
So,
that they are effective.
Avi, big question.
Yeah.
I've been taking Accutane for like 8 days now. Am I supposed to apply moisturizer to my
Well,
to
this
my
is being
face?
recorded. We might want to address this with me later.
This is being
Unless you,
what? You're joking.
yeah, this whole conversation is being recorded.
Is this going on YouTube?
Yeah, it is.
What if I just? Oh my gosh! What if I just make a statement apart from this saying like my position?
No, you put yourself in a position where you went to the world,
Well, you didn't even
talked
tell
to
me.
Lawrence Southern. Then of course, you're going to go to a position where all that damage is
No,
going to
no,
be
no.
undone.
I know you didn't tell me it was being recorded.
Look, the server rules. The server rules state that you may be recorded at any
Yeah,
time.
but it's nice to tell people. But I mean, if you
I
want me
did
to
tell
just
you it
like,
was recorded in this conversation. I told you it was being recorded.
okay, I was confused on whether you meant the YouTube video or not. Because like,
Oh, okay.
there's okay, because like when you said go back, then because I actually thought it was being recorded, but then you're just talking about the
No,
YouTube
but I
video.
said to you multiple times that it's being recorded. The reason, and here's why: because Lauren's ghosting me.
Oh, okay, but
Yeah.
but I'd be down to make okay, if you want to post it on YouTube, I can't do anything about it. But as an alternative, I could make just like an individual video like saying the case of my position.
I think we should do both. I think the more space that all the damage that you helped Lauren do gets undone and you help get undone, the better. My platform is one way. Your platform, or individuals whose platforms is another way. But yeah,
I'm
That's
just a really bad off the fly speaker, and obviously this is proof of that. So yeah.
But it's not like, maybe so, still, nonetheless, I think we've come to agreement fairly. I don't think
Okay,
I
yeah,
would
but
bear with
I
you.
just wish I could
Yeah.
present myself better.
Well, let it be known for the record that had had you had time to prepare, then you would have presented yourself better to the audience. However, we still fairly came to agreement, and we would have agreed regardless. I think that's a fair statement.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Great.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay, but Avi, actually though, if I'm taking Accutane, are you still supposed to apply a moisturizer to your face?
I mean, is your skin getting dry?
Huh?
Is your skin getting dry?
Oh, I guess it's kind of flaky.
All right, you can apply moisturizer to your face. It's fine. There's no contraindication between Accutane and moisture.
Well, I just didn't know if there was like a supposed to be thing.
Yeah, you can do it. It helps. It helps some people. Some people take Accutane and they get dry skin.
It's true. It's true.
It's a common side effect. So.
Let's see. Anyway, honestly, I was intending on going this server just chatting with people. I didn't even because like
You got you accomplished that goal. You are chatting. with people.
yeah, but I didn't expect to be recorded. But like, but because y'all jumped in 10 seconds. I was actually kind of impressed because when you jumped in, I actually didn't know it was you because I read the username. I thought it was just some random guy saying I'm a YPR guy. I'm like, who is this? And I looked at the username. I'm like, oh, this is Avi Bitterman.
Yeah,
So it's pretty
guy.
crazy.
That's right. It's a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I'm not throwing Lauren under the bus. If you could make sure specifically imply that that Lauren and I's views are separate, so it's not like I'm destroying Lauren. I just have a different opinion than her.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that that you disagree with Lauren. Then, if she holds a different view than that, if she does hold a different view than you, then
Sure. I don't even know Lauren's current positions so far. So.
Yeah. So if she stands by these things, whether she does or not, the point is that you don't take that position.
Sure.
So
Cool.
one thing that I'm curious, did you ever guys debrief on that one meta-analysis that didn't report effect sizes and that had all those questionnaires?
Oh yeah, that's also what we also spent time on that. Yeah, that was also what took up a bunch of chunk video, that meta-analysis that included religious questions on as to whether transgender therapy was effective.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I didn't know if you went over it in the conversation or if you conceded or anything like that.
No, we didn't. I think we did that before and we agreed.
Okay. So it was just before this conversation was already.
Yeah, I mean that was just like a hilarious garbage meta that was just.
Yeah.
The
like,
pastos?
What's up?
I can check the name.
Pastos at all?
Let's see here. Yeah, Passo's meta. Yeah. Wow, what a garbage meta.
It was the only meta-analysis I could find on quality of life, and
There actually are
Well, I
other
mean,
metas.
come on, like even if it's the only amount of evidence that you can find, that doesn't mean it's good evidence.
Well, I never implied it was good evidence. I just said this is the
Sure,
only
yeah, but like I mean, you said it was the only evidence that you could find. Like if
on
it's the only
quality of
one
life
that you can find,
intervention.
If
So,
that
yeah,
was the only evidence you could find, you really shouldn't make a video unless you're saying we don't know anything about the
But
topic.
that's why I said I was like, I think I don't know. I don't know how I explained the meta-analysis in the video though. I thought I could have made a caveat, but I just don't remember.
Well, I think we agree on what the problems with it were, at least, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
there's a lot of.
as long as that's good, then yeah, we have less of an issue here.
Muck.
I take it that measuring how religious. I take it that measuring how religious you become after your gender affirming therapy If you answer that you didn't become religious, you have a decreased effect size and effectiveness.
Was it? Is that how they phrased the question? I thought it was just like spirituality. I could be wrong.
One thing is like if you're connected with like religion or religious, or like there's all sorts of
So
questions.
you had to
like
look
that.
within the actual like questions in the questionnaire, not just like the spirituality itself. Like I mean, even as a
Yeah,
category, kind
if
of.
they phrase because obviously I think spirituality is a good indicator, but like if they specifically tied it to like are you connected to a or religion, then that's a
It
poor.
was like some of the questions were like, yeah, do you feel connected with a greater connection with a spiritual entity? I think that was like one of the questions, and it was like, I mean, should we expect that gender reaffirming surgery actually does that?
Yeah, it does. Every transgender person actually comes a little more Christian Muslim.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly.
It's
Jesus.
true.
Yeah, and then there was like statistical issues as well. There was like a whole plethora of like actual like statistical methodological issues. So. But yeah, I mean the meta is just trash, just trash. I take any single study over that. I take single studies over that meta any day. And to be fair, I'm not just doing it for that side. Like to be fair, I do that for the Cornell analysis as well. I think like the Turbine study is better than the entirety of the Cornell analysis, top to bottom.
So true, so true. And I would too. I would too because yes.
Yeah, so I'm not just like being this. I'm not just being one-sided here in favor of the trans position.
No, I understand. Like, no, a robust individual large study is going to be better than a meta-analysis of 5 really crappy, tiny, stupid, not representative
Didn't
studies.
they like summate like really just unrelated things in that Cornell thing?
Whole bunch. Yeah. I mean, well, no. They didn't summate anything.
Yeah, it was a review, right? It wasn't a summation.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a
I was just trying
narrative
to remember.
review. It's really a narrative review.
Okay, there we go.
I don't think they even followed Prisma guidelines, at least to any
No, they
degree
didn't.
that I can.
Yeah, it was not a summation.
So it's a narrative review. It's definitely not a meta-analysis. There's no meta-analytic summation.
Yeah. I was just
No,
trying to
it didn't. It didn't.
Yeah,
say
I don't know why
they-
people. I don't know why people
didn't
continue
say-
to cite it.
They didn't say why they included the studies. They didn't say. It's like, they
had no
didn't say
clear
where they
inclusion
got the
criteria.
studies from.
Yeah.
They didn't explain what made the studies similar. It was pretty sad. So
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. It's. I think we're in agreement. It's good talking to you. And yeah.
yeah, I just want to chill in the server because I'm gonna like talk to random people. I guess there's a lot of people to talk to. I guess, but
We're around.
but yeah, that's why I came in here just to talk with random people. I'm just working on some homework, so I'm just gonna chat with people while I do my homework.
Yeah, we're always around.
So
Yeah. So
especially
just
when
to be clear, just to be like, we agree with that meta. We agree that meta is like not something.
most meta-analysis on this topic are pretty bad.
I'm talking about but I'm talking about this one
specifically
specifically.
the positive. Yeah, specifically the positive one's
Yeah.
pretty bad. Sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad meta. Okay, we agree.
I think-
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah. Okay.
Wait, but do you think like it's
Okay.
bad because do you think that like spiritual experience should be part of like the transgender care outcomes, like transgender surgical outcomes?
I don't know why it would affect spirituality. Maybe if there was an effect, like okay, if you're trying to measure effectivity with spirituality, I wouldn't say that's obviously a bad way to measure effectivity or
Yeah.
quality of life. Well, okay, so is spirituality included in 4 quality of life studies? Is that in like the HUQL whatever it is? Because if spiritually, how they
We can
okay,
pull the. I
assuming-
remember the individual question. Yeah, we can pull the individual questions if you like.
because assuming
But,
spirituality is like a measure of the quality of life thing, then maybe you could have some type of spiritual questionnaire, but not obviously you can't mention specific entities. But
Well, I don't
like,
understand. Like, let's say someone just doesn't consider themselves a spiritual person, just because like spirituality is correlated with quality of life. Like, I don't understand why we would expect.
Well, no, not just
it to-
correlated, but if the I don't know. That's why I'm trying to ask if the WHO considers spirituality a facet of quality of life, then sure, I would say sure, use it in the studies. It might not tell you anything. Don't use it for like an indication of effectivity of transgender.
Right. Because
retirement
here's the thing:
surgery,
there's a lot of things. Even if
but
it's
you
true,
can use
there's
it
a
as a
lot of things
measurement.
that are facets of quality of life. Like whether I have like toe pain or not is a quality of life. But like
Sure,
we
but
wouldn't
I
expect
think it's a
transgender
standardized.
therapy to improve toe pain.
But since the QOL is like since like the WHO QOL thing is like a standardized thing, if it's normally has spirituality, then I wouldn't be opposed to it having like spirituality questions. Obviously, the results from the analysis from a WHO QOL with reassignment surgery shouldn't tell you the effectivity on whether you should get it given the spirituality data. But
Yeah, like that it wouldn't give us any reason to conclude whether one should get that surgery or not.
right, yes, I agree.
Yeah, and you certainly understand how putting in things that we wouldn't expect to change into a meta-analytical examination is just going to make things to the null regardless of whether the surgery is very effective or not.
Right, but yeah, so I don't. I'd have to look on how the WHO does their quality of life surveys. If that's like a standard of measurement they use, I'd have to read why it is. But if that's how they do it, then sure, add it. But it shouldn't tell you whether or not to get it. It should just be a metric on people studying the quality of life.
Yeah, you can report it separately. That's fine. But if you're trying to make an inference on whether it's like effective to the goals of what you're trying to accomplish in the surgery,
Well, if the goal is like the goal of the study,
the goal is
specifically,
not going to be quality of life. The goal is not going to be quality of life as measured by your spirituality in any way.
Sure,
I'll tell you that.
No,
but
I think you guys are just like he's talking about the old goal of the study, and we're talking about the goal of our analysis and the goal of the question of hand. Is that
right.
kind of
So
what's
I would
happening?
agree with your position. Like the goal of an individual to read the study might not give them any data on whether any idea on whether to go with the surgery or not go with the surgery, right? But from a researcher's point of view, then yes, you'd want a standardized metric. So if spirituality's in it, then sure, add it.
Sure. Yeah. I get that. I don't think Avi is trying to dispute that. Like
Right. I think he
dispute
agrees
that
with me.
point. I think he's just talking about with relation to the specific question that we're exploring at hand. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, and the questions went deeper on the questions went deeper than just spiritual. It seemed to go deeper, at least, than just spirituality per se as well. But yeah, so okay, cool. I think we're in agreement then as well. Like the spirituality metrics don't give us a reason to favor or
dissuade
not favor
someone
the
from getting
intervention.
it.
I got closer to Cthulhu through gender reassignment surgery.
Exactly.
As someone
so I
who
think-
myself is not spiritually involved, then yes, obviously.
Yeah. So now I think we're in agreement on all the main points. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, listen, it was good talking, and yeah, take care.
Peace out.